While we're getting smarter on the pitch, wiser makes my home smarter.
First of all, how are we settling in? How's life down here in the southwest? How's the transition into the Chiefs Women squad?
Yeah, so far so good. My time is still split between Sheffield and Exeter, so I'm doing a fair bit of travelling at the moment, but getting used to that pretty quickly. Yeah, and settling in great. It's it's obviously a huge draw, the opportunity to come and work with Exeter. Looking from the outside, it always appeared like a phenomenal place to work, and certainly the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks I've been here, that's certainly proved to be the case. It's been very welcoming, very friendly. People have been incredibly helpful, and the nice thing is to come into a relatively settled squad with obviously bar my position. The rest of the management team for the women's was pretty settled, and there's obviously a really good squad in place. So it's not a case of having to make wholesale changes, and obviously coming in this time of year, that's quite difficult anyway. So it's been a nice transition into the role.
Fantastic. So this block of games now you've had sort of post the internationals returning and getting back into the Premier 15s, got some real momentum going into this Christmas period. How do you assess how the squad is performing at the moment? You've got a few injuries, but people seem to be stepping up really well.
Yeah, I mean, the first game I saw was the Worcester Cup game, which was obviously a sort of blend of people getting an opportunity and some senior pros in there. The second game I saw was the Loughborough game. I'd actually been in that week, but only for one day and only to observe. So I hadn't actually coached the girls until the week leading into the Worcester game. But I got a real good sense for the quality of the group off the back of the Loughborough game. We were really good in patches, particularly in the first half, but I think second half just switched off a little bit emotionally and allowed Loughborough to come back at us. The really positive thing from my perspective to come from that game was that although we didn't play brilliantly in the second half, over the course of the 80 minutes we did only concede 7 points, and what that did show to me is there was a huge amount of fight in the group, and I'd always rather have a group that's got fight in it and needs a little bit of organising rather than a team that's ultra organised but has no fight in it. So that for me was a real positive. I think we had a really good training week leading into the Worcester Prem game. I did tweak a couple of things around the defence and some of the line out stuff, but again not wholesale changes, tweaks rather than real significant changes, and one or two of those things came through on Saturday. One or two things weren't quite where we wanted them to be, but I knew that would be the case. But I thought the performance against Worcester was excellent. I think to go away from home, strange kick-off time, freezing cold conditions, part of a double header, so we ended up hanging around a little bit as well, and then to win, I think it was 29-12, was a really solid professional performance, and that's been reflected in the way that we reviewed it this week. But yeah, we've got a few missing, but again, from my perspective, that's great because I get to see the girls that are filling in, and hopefully those girls that at the moment are perceived as filling in are giving themselves every opportunity to keep their place in the team. So yeah, it's been an interesting 3 weeks, but I think the big high point for me was the majority of the performance in the second Worcester game.
Fantastic. So looking ahead, Gloucester-Hartpury this Saturday.
Yeah.
The home record is fantastic. You're unbeaten at Sandy Park this year.
Okay.
What are you expecting from them? What are you hoping to bring to the game on Saturday?
Yeah, shows I knew him. I didn't actually know that. I didn't know we were being at home. So yeah, obviously the intention would always be to try and win any game you play, but certainly if we're trying to back up an unbeaten home record, then obviously the intention will be to do everything we can to win the game. They're a very good side. They very good around the line out. They drive a lot, so we're going to have to be very disciplined to try and take away some of those opportunities from them. Although their win-loss record is probably not where they would want it to be, they've certainly had some close games, and perhaps one or two games they felt that they probably deserved to win and just came out the wrong side of. and a couple of girls have given me a bit of an insight that it is seen as a you know, a bit of a local derby as well. That in itself brings a little bit of extra edge and a little bit of additional bite to it. So again, obviously a slightly strange kick-off time, but hopefully, if one thing we've talked about this week is just continually trying to improve. So as I said, I've made 1 or 2 tweaks myself, and we need to make sure we keep improving around our defensive shape, and also off the back of getting good defensive shape, being able to defend aggressively. Likewise, we I've talked about Gloucester's driving game there. That is an element of our game that we're trying to develop and improve as well. We've got some really significant threats in attack, so hopefully if we can blend those things into to as close an 80-minute performance as we possibly can, we give ourselves the best chance of maintaining that home record. But that isn't in any way, shape or form meant to sound disrespectful towards Gloucester-Hartpury, because we know the size of the challenge this weekend.